Hello, 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 everyone. It is Teresa from Teresa's Silhouette Spot for Art, where I love sharing art from my heart and teaching you how to create a little joy in your life through some fun, simple, quick art projects. Hello, welcome to September's PIY Paint It Yourself. We are going to get started. We're doing this really fun Halloween design. Not this one, I'm just showing you. I'm like all holiday-ish here. So let me turn this off. And I'm going to turn you around. I am going to get started. There we go. Okay, I have my canvas. I have my 11 by 14 tracer. This is listed for you. So I am going to, I guess I want his head. Eyeball it. You know me, I'm all about eyeballing. I like that. Let me grab a piece of tape. I'm going to tape this down. Okay. I am going to grab my graphite paper and slip it in here. Oh, that tape didn't work. So I'm going to throw out that tape. I'm going to line this up again, eyeballing it. There we go. I think that's good. Okay. Get a different piece of tape that I reused that stuck to my desk, and that's why that one didn't work just now. I'm going to stick it on there, and then I just like hinge it up and slip, again, my graphite paper under. Well, this is not working. Good thing it's you guys, and I know you love me, and it's all good. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm going to grab a pencil, a stylus, the back of a paintbrush, whatever, and I am going to start to trace on my gnome. Okay, I'm just following line by line. It does not have to be perfect. You know, sometimes make a little bit of mistake, but that's okay because we can pick it up later with the paint. We'll fix it. It's all good. Okay, let me draw in my jack-o'-lantern. His scary little mouth. Okay, his hand. The beard. I don't worry too much about the beard and that bottom here, as long as when we go in and paint it, it's wispy on the bottom. That's all that matters. You don't have to worry about tracing that whole jagged edge. Exactly the same for the whole thing. For the spider, I'm just going to paint his body. I'm going to put my bats in. I may end up moving them or painting over them. We shall see. I don't know yet, but we'll get them in here. Okay, I think that is everything. Let me fix this line a little bit. This way I like to keep my hand down and pick up to make sure I have everything the way I'm supposed to. And I do. Okay, let's get rid of this. Let's fold this up. Put that aside. I do want to grab a sponge. Oh, first thing I'm going to do is get this plate. Is the plate going to work? No. Okay. Plate is not going to work. I want to draw in a little bit of a hill. Our gnome here is on a hill. I want it to come up right under his outfit. And that's it. I'm just going to put these two arches in there because under here is going to be the hill. It's like he's walking on. Okay. And then I have my step-by-steps so I don't run out of so I don't make a mistake. And I'm going to get my paint out. I was painting stuff before. I'm going to need some of these colors again, so we will keep them here. The most important ones for this painting are, of course, because it's the candy corn gnome, you want to have your white, your orange, and your yellow. The rest of the colors you can mix up or do whatever you want with. It's totally fine. I have white, orange, yellow, tan, purples. I'm going to need some purples for the background. And then black and white, gray. Oh, that's stuck, for the little hill down there. So you want a reddish color, a orange, yellow, white, a dark green, a dark purple, a light purple, a brown, and then of course black. So there's my dark purple. Let me see what I have up here. I think I have like a wisteria or something in here for a light purple. Or you can use one purple and then, here, periwinkle. You can use one purple and then just lighten it up with white. It's up to you. Like my decorations, you guys? I usually don't decorate till October 1st, but. So I have some periwinkle, I have some purple, and I have some white. Okay? I have a 1-inch flat brush that I was using earlier. I'm going to dry it off really, really well. And we're going to get started. Let me have some, I want to put some white on this plate too for my background. So when you hop on, tell me where you're watching from. And let's get started. I have my guide traced on here already, and we will get going. I'm going to dip in my white paint. I'm going to come over here, I'm going to pick up some purple, and I'm going to get started on the background. Now I'm going to roughly outline my moon. I'm not really going to worry about it too much. Like I said, I might go over my bats. That's okay. And I just want my background to have a lot of movement in it. And pick up some white and some purple. I will use my brush on the upright chisel edge when I'm trying to cut around my elements that I've traced on. And I'm just going to keep picking up some paint and painting it in. You can go back in when you're done and retrace on anything you need to, like the bats or whatever. So for now, I'm just going to keep painting. And I'm using these very, very loose crisscrossing strokes. It's like a hatch. I go one way, then I go the other way, and I just keep picking up paint, purple and white, and working my way down the canvas. And I go opposite as I paint. We just want some movement in the background. If you like to use a sponge, you can use a sponge. That makes for a really good background as well. The most important thing when you're doing your background is to try not to have it too monotone. You want some movement, you want some design, you want some texture in the back. I'm going to start to pick up this light purple down here as I come down. So I'm going to pick up the light and the white and start mixing it in, cutting into my line, but then blending it up a little bit as well. When I first came in, I put all the light purple, it's periwinkle, down here. So I mixed it with the dark and the white and the light, but then I want to kind of run it up as well. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. So I got this purple down here, the dark purple. And again, we're not worried too much about our lines because we can clean everything up when we come to paint those particular elements. I'm just right now base coating everything in, and I'm adding the light periwinkle down here to the bottom. Again, I'm going to grab a smaller brush because I want to get into these little, oh, where'd my towel go? Oh, here it is, nooks and crannies. So up in here, I'm going to put a little bit of purple in there. And so any place you need a smaller brush, go right ahead. I like the way the periwinkle looks. It's almost like glowing against the dark purple. I think this is Purple Pizzazz. And then let's come in here and fix my moon. We'll make it nice when we come in here with our yellow. Just neatening it up a little bit. All right, done with that one. And then I'm going to grab my brush again in both colors, and I'm going to work on the edges. Okay, let's see. I want my upper corners here to be a little bit darker, so I'm picking up a little bit of the just the dark purple, and coming in here and spreading it out over what I had. Just to get a little bit darker up here in the corners. Now you see I splashed a little bit on my gnome. I'm not going to really worry about that too much. Okay, I'm going to wash my brush. Give it a little rinse and wipe. Now I'm going to come down here to the bottom part. Pick up some black. I'm going to start painting in here with some black. We want this to be grayish, and so now I picked up some white, and I'm going to start blending on my canvas with the black that I put on here and get a gray. But we don't want solid gray. We want to mix, right? We don't want to overblend. We don't want it to be gray. We want streaks of black and gray. So white, little black on the corner. Cut around his shoes. But when we do his shoes are going to be all completely black. And then that's when we'll worry about being neat and picking up all the details that we need. Right now, we're just filling in, color blocking, and marking where all our colors are going to be. See, I have various shades of black and gray and white going on down here on this little mound that he's walking on. And again, I'm just going to do the edges, and here I'm doing the same edges like I did for the top. If you notice, when I did the background, I did a little bit of a, like I said, a hatch. I went one way, then I went the other way, and so my background strokes were a little bit crossed. I want the background to have some texture and look interesting. But down here on the bottom, I want my strokes to be across, and up here, I want them to follow the curve of this little hill that he's standing on. So those strokes are going to be rounded and arced. Okay? And I'm going to wash my brush again. I'm probably going to switch to a shorter, smaller brush now. All right. So what do I have here? This one's good. This is about a 1/2 inch flat that I'm switching to now. Depending on if your project is dry or not, you might want to wait. Mine seems to be okay up top around the hat, so I'm going to get started. And I'm going to come in here, and the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to paint the top part of his hat white. And you may say, well, the canvas is white. Yes, I know the canvas is white. But our paint has a nice finish to it. And so we don't just want to leave our canvas blank. We want to paint it in. This way you can see that all 3 sections of the hat are painted. Okay, so I know you can't see that. I'm going to then pick up some orange. I'm not even going to clean my brush. I'm going to go right into my orange here, and I'm going to do the second row. I like to do the edges first. Okay, and then we're going to fill in. Now I will wipe off my brush, but I really don't have to go into the water either, because I'm going to go right down here to the yellow, and it's okay if we have a little bit of yellow mixed with a little bit of orange from our previous layer. And again, I'm just marking out where I want my yellow to be. This is about a 1/2 inch flat brush. And then I'm just going to fill it in. So remember, this is a recording. You can stop it, start it, rewind it, fast forward it. Whatever you need to do, it is here, it stays here for you to watch and paint again at your leisure. Just remember that all my paintings and designs, whether they're mine or that I get them licensed from someone, are for personal use only. Okay, it's looking so cute already. So while I have yellow on my brush, I'm going to paint in the first coat of my moon. Picked up a little purple there because it's wet. There we go. We may or may not need 2 coats for our moon. Okay? And now I will wash my brush. Now I have this little ratty brush in here, and I call it ratty because look at how the fibers are all messed up. They don't really come together nicely. Even when I try to smooth it out, they boing all over. And it's small, and this is a good brush to do his beard with. So I'm going to mix, again, some black and white. I don't want to overmix because I want to be able to see different colors. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to carefully start base coating in his beard. Around his arm. And then down around the pumpkin. And there's a reason I do things in the order that I do them in, because if we get beard on his pumpkin, when we do the pumpkin, we can fix that. If we get beard on his pants, when we do the pants, we can fix that, and so on. So there's a reason why I do things in the order in which I do them. Okay, so we're going to let that dry a little bit. And I'm going to rinse my brush. I'm going to go back to my better brush, about 1/4 inch wide, 1/2 inch wide. Okay. I think I'm going to get some green. I'm going to mix my greens. I have a dark green and a light green here. I have Hauser Light and Hauser Dark. Again, I'm dipping in both, and I'm outlining his outfit. Oh, get that off of there to fix that. And now I'm just going to start filling it in with these two greens. I always like my brush strokes to go with the curve of the element. So in here, once I get it all filled in, I want my brush strokes to swoop up and down, following the curve and the flow of his outfit. Okay? And then we need his little sleeve here. And again, I base coated his beard. Then I'm putting on his clothes, his arm, his outfit, because we want his beard. The gnome's beard is a little unruly and ragged, and we want it to cover up all that stuff. So I'm going to wash my brush. Give it a little rinse. Okay. All right, I'm going to get some of this tan with a little bit of this white. I think this is actually linen. I'm going to just mix up a tiny bit over here with the white and the linen. And I'm going to paint in his nose. And the same thing, I'm going to use the same color for his hand. Okay, there we go. I'm going to grab, I think I'm going to grab a Sharpie. Yep. And I'm going to go over his jack-o'-lantern face. So when I paint my pumpkin, we'll be able to see it. There we go. And I just added in a little bit of this stem there. So while we let his nose dry, his hand dry, my Sharpie dry, I'm going to get my liner brush and I'm going to go into straight black. I'm going to start working on his shoes. Okay, and this is why I said it didn't really matter if you got any of the hill or the black on here, because when we come back in to fix this stuff, that's when we can clean it up. So don't get upset if when you're doing your background you had a paint drip or there was a swish that you didn't like. Just keep painting, and honestly, if we don't end up fixing it because we added another element to it, or if we still see it and we want to fix it, it's totally fine, because that's when we come back and we do what we need to do to fix these things. So if there's something that you don't love, don't worry about it just yet. Okay? We get so many layers and so many details to add that something that you painted at the very beginning of your artwork may not even matter by the time we're done. And even here with this, we're not even done yet. All right, I am going to take a little black and swish it under here. We want to make a little bit of shadow underneath where he's walking. And I'm just using my liner brush with a little scrubbing motion and going back and forth just to make a little bit of shadow. See? I'm going to wash that. Oh, I'm going to use my liner brush again, I think. Let me dry that off. Okay. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to my yellow without putting my hand in my artwork. I'm going to paint in his jack-o'-lantern face. I might end up using 2 coats for this, but that's why I know I have a really nice base in here. I'll be able to see where they are and find them. Don't worry, I'm going over the Sharpie because we're going to come back and outline that in a little black too when we're done. And this way we'll be able to see it because we have our Sharpie lines in there. Okay, and I might as well, I'm going to go right to the brown. I'm even going to wash my brush, and I'm going to do the stem. It's okay that I have a little bit of yellow still on my brush, and I'm just going to fill the stem in here. Some of these elements are small, that's why I'm using my liner brush. Okay. Now, I'm going to take my brush, and I just have water on it right now. I'm going to come over here, and this is where I got that green on here, what spilled before. And I'm just going to get it a little bit wet. And I'm going to take my rag that I use. I'm going to get the green paint off mostly. And then I'm going to get my background brush. And I'm going to go back to what I made for my background color with the periwinkle and the white and the purple. And I'm just going to fill it back in. So you would never even know that I got the green paint on there. All done. I'm going to wash my brush. Okay, now before I continue on, I want to do a second coat on the white part of my hat. And I'm going to do a second coat on the yellow moon. There were areas on the hat and the moon where the purple was sticking through from the background. Just going to wipe that off, go right into my yellow. And paint right over it. There we go. Much, much better. Okay. And again, I'm not even going to wash my brush, and I'm going to start going into my pumpkin. Now, I don't mind if I get a little bit of orange on his jack-o'-lantern face. That's why I did the yellow first. I'm picking up both yellow and orange as I do him. and I'm going to start filling it in. We're going to come back in here with some liner and some highlights, and then we will fix all of this. But as I do my pumpkin, I'm picking up orange and yellow at the same time. And I'm just making sure I'm filling it in, and then I'll go back and make sure that all my brush strokes go the way I want them to. This is a fun one, isn't it? This is really cute. Okay, there we go. Now, this is a little bit weird under here, so let's make that a little bit bigger. Did you notice his was like pumpkin was like a little awkward over there? So I just went in and I just swished it over a little bit more, and now I'm going in, I'm adding a little bit. I want all my brush strokes to go down and curve and follow the shape of the pumpkin. There we go. Okay, I'm going to go back to that ratty brush that I had before, the one whose fibers were sticking out all over and had bedhead. See that? I can't bring it together anymore. It's a little ratty. This brush has seen better days, but I like it for doing the beard. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to tap in to the white. So if you can see, I'm tapping into the white and I'm tapping it off. My brush is all crazy. And I'm going to start adding in his beard. Okay, I'm going to tap in. I'm going to tap it off a little bit. And I'm going to start painting in the beard. We don't want full coverage. We want us to be able to see the gray in the background. And I'm just kind of flicking it in here. That's why we did the sleeve first. That's why we did the hand first. That's why we did the pumpkin before the beard. Because it's okay. I'm going to have my beard hair just going lightly over the pumpkin. See that? I'm tapping it off, and then I'm flicking it in here. Some parts have a little bit thicker, some parts have a little bit thinner. I want it to come out over the outfit a little bit and be a little wispy. Every time I pick up more paint, I use a tapping motion, and then I tap it off so I don't have too much paint on it. It's almost like I'm dry brushing. You can see my brush is all like crazy up in there. I'm going to get as close to the pumpkin as I can, and then just pull down over his clothes. See that? We have some gray showing through, we have some white, we have some really deep white, we have some really see-through white, and we can go back and layer if we want and make it whiter or lighter. It's your beard. You can go as far as you want. You can make it longer. You can make it totally cover up this sleeve, whatever you want to do. But I'm just tapping in, and then I'm pulling down these wispies, very light touch over his clothing. See that? cute. All right, I need a drink. Okay, looking good, looking good. All right, I'm gonna go back to my liner brush. Give it a dry. And I am going to fix his face. Fix our jack-o'-lantern's face. Nice, fresh yellow. Over the eyes and his jack-o'-lantern nose. And his jack-o'-lantern mouth. Here we go. Okay. Then I want to come up here with my moon. And I'm just going to outline it, but I'm outlining it in the same color. Just so I can clean up the edges a little bit. I'm going to come back and add a little white later to highlight it. But right now I feel like going back around it with the yellow made the ends of my little crescent moon nice and pointy. Okay. All right. Add that off. I'm going to come over here with my linen and I'm going to do the bottom of the nose to give it a little bit of shading under here. And then I'm going to go in the white and I'm going to give it a little bit of a highlight. Then I want to fix his hand from when we did our pumpkin. And again, I'm going to pick up some white and give it a little highlight. I'm going to get some black and do a little bit of a line there and a highlight. Then we want to highlight our shoes. Okay. I'm going to give a little highlight back here. And then I'm going to mix a little bit of this green with a tiny bit of black. Tiny, tiny, tiny bit. Because we want this under here to have a little bit of shade and crinkle. Give some movement down here to the bottom of his outfit. Okay. Now I get my black. And I'm going to carefully outline the hat. I put my finger in the paint and over and around his nose. Put a little bit of black low light on that side of the stem. Wash my brush. And do the same thing I did before. Get this black off of here that I stuck my finger in. It kind of works for you guys when I make mistakes, because then I show you how easy it is to fix. Okay, cut that off. Get some purple with the white. And just blend that in. There we go. All right, back to my black. I'm going to finish outlining the hat. Now, it's hard for you to do one motion. You can do little dib-dabs like this. Stroke, stroke, stroke. You don't have to do it in one brush stroke, go around the whole thing. You could do it in little bits and pieces, half inch, inch, and just keep connecting them and going around. It works, it's fine. Okay. All right, while I'm doing my black, I'm going to lightly go in here and fix my jack-o'-lantern. Now, if this is too hard for you to do with a brush, you don't have a steady hand, you're too heavy-handed, wait for it to completely dry, and then come back and use a marker, a Sharpie, a fine paint pen, whatever you're comfortable using. Okay? If a brush is too difficult for you, then don't do it. Painting should be fun and relaxing, not stressful. There we go. I'm going to wash my brush. And I'm going to pick up a tiny bit of white to add some highlight there and to our moon. Okay? Ow, ow, ow. All right. Now, I'm going to grab some black. And I'm going to put an oval at the end of here and fill it in. So I know this is an abstract spider, but this is nothing real about this painting. But the important thing is when you do spiders is to give them 8 legs. You could have the most awkward looking spider. You'd be hard pressed to tell it was even a spider. But once you give it 8 legs, it's all good. Okay? So don't worry about your spider being all wonky or crazy, because once you put his 8 legs on, you're good to go. Hey, Amy, how you been? Okay, so we have our spider, we have our moon, we have our pumpkin. All right, I'm gonna wash my brush again, rinse it off. Now, I'm just gonna get a little bit of brown, and I'm gonna put some lightly put some segments into our pumpkin. Just a little bit. Give it a little bit of detail. That's it. Just a little bit, not too much. Okay. I'm going to use the back of my brush. I'm going to pick up some white and I'm going to add my 2 little spider eyes. Okay. And now we want to add some candy corn to the bottom down here. So if you wanted to, you can draw these in first. I'm just going to randomly start adding in some triangles and building in, well, I guess rectangles to start with, and building in our candy corn. Who likes candy corn, yay or nay? I mean, I could do them one at a time if I wanted to. I just feel like it's easier if I do all the yellows and then do all the oranges and then all the whites. And our yellows might need 2 coats too. We'll go back and see as we do it. Yellows tend to be a little translucent anyway, and then more so when you're painting over such a dark color. So I am going to pick up my yellow and I'm just going to carefully go back and add a second coat to all these sections. Oh. Okay, then I'm just going to wipe off my brush. I'm going to go right to the orange. And just layering on the next part of our candy corn. And after this, I will wash my brush. Okay. Now, of course, the white part. Oops. And then this side. Have our candy corn down there. Wash my brush again. And go back to my black. And I'm just going to carefully outline my corns. They don't have to be perfect. There we go. Add our candy corn down there. Okay. I'm going to take my yellow. I'm going to add a little bit of stars to the sky. And when we add stars, it's just a simple cross and an X. So whichever you do first, then you do a cross or an X. So we're going to add an X, and then we put a cross in the middle of it, or we do a cross and we put an X in the middle of it. So it's just a combination of a cross and an X. It's actually also how we build on snowflakes, but snowflakes get a lot more detail. And I'm just in here, I'm just adding in some stars in the sky. And you can do them in yellow, or you can do them in white, or you can do them in both. I didn't wash my brush, and now I'm coming up here with white, and I'm adding in a few more. Okay. And then last but not least, I want to do my bat. I'm going to add a bat to this guy. I'm wondering if I should trace my bat or just go for it. I think I'm going to trace it. I just want to pick up a little bit of black and do some black in the center for my spider eyes. There we go. Let me get my bat. What do I do with my tracer? Oh, there it is. You know what? I'm going to draw it, but I'm going to draw it by looking at it. So we have our bat. Okay. Then our wings. And then our wings. There we go. And then maybe I'll put another little one up here like it is on this tracer. And that's it. So I don't get messy. Toss that over and go back to my liner brush. Now my black is getting a little bit thick, so I have some water on my brush. I'm just going to thin it up so my black moves a little better to fill in my bat. Pick up the paint. Fill it in. And then make sure we give them some bat ears. And there's one. Then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do the second one. And fill them in as well. We will be starting on Monday, 31 days of Halloween. I'm pretty excited. I have about 25 painters who will be joining me for 31 days of Halloween. Painters, creators, jewelry makers, fiber artists, candle makers, and everybody's doing a Halloween themed project. 31 days of Halloween. I think I'm going to take my black and come up here and do a little bit of an outline too. And I think that's it. Oh, I want to add a little white to my bats for some highlight. There we go. And that is it. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining me for September PIY, our candy corn gnome. Have a great night, everyone.